Hello, my name is Baruch, and I'm an alcoholic. Welcome back to my ongoing series of the 12 steps, as told with inspiration from the 5 books of Moses. Today we're going to do the second step based on Exodus. I hope you'll stay with us. This whole process will take over a year, 60 weeks, if I do my math correctly. So let's go. Exodus 2:3, it's early in the book of Exodus, reads, "And when she could not longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes, and daubed it with slime and with pitch. And she put the child therein, and laid it in the reeds by the river's brink." Now, if you've watched the movie The Ten Commandments, you'll know this is a very famous scene in the Bible. The he is Moses, the baby Moses, and she is Moses' mother, whose name was Yocheved. What happened was that Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, had heard a prediction from his astrologers that a Jewish baby would be born at this time who would rise up and defeat him. So Pharaoh, being an evil person, decreed that all Jewish baby boys should be killed. So he sent his soldiers out to kill Jewish baby boys. And so when Moses was born, he was hidden. His mother hid him in the house. But after a couple of months, you can't hide a baby forever. He was getting too big to hide. So she decided, and it's not really clear what she had in mind, but she thought maybe to give him a chance of surviving, she would, set him afloat in the river Nile in a basket, basically like a little boat. It's interesting, some of the Hebrew translations of the word for the basket make it seem like an ark, like Noah's ark, like saving the baby, maybe that the baby would be adopted and raised by Egyptians. Now, of course, what happened was that Pharaoh's daughter, Bisia, picked up the basket from the river and took the baby Moses into the palace and raised Moses as a prince of Egypt. And there was even a Disney movie about it called The Prince of Egypt. And again, this is in the movie The Ten Commandments, if you want to see the Hollywood version of it. But to be serious, this is what happened. Moses' life was spared, and he grew up, and he fulfilled the astrologer's prediction. He did defeat Pharaoh. So there's a lot we can learn from this for recovery, and we'll talk about it in the terms of the second step. The second step says, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. And, if you've worked the second step and you've really been in that moment where you realize that the opposite is also true, that if you don't believe in a power greater than yourself, you will have insanity. Your life is unmanageable. Your life is out of control. You are not able to run your own life. You need a power greater than yourself. It's a very profound step. And like the first three, all the first 3 steps, if you don't take these steps, you will not get into recovery. You will end up back out using or drinking or whatever. It's kind of a basic thing. You have to believe in a power greater than yourself. And the story of Moses being saved, despite Pharaoh's desire to kill all the Jewish baby boys, is a good example of someone who thought he was running the show but wasn't. Pharaoh really thought he had everything under control. But look what happened. Now, it's good that he didn't have things under control, because otherwise Moses wouldn't have lived. But this story of miraculous survival because of the hand of God, which undoes the wishes of Pharaoh, it can teach us a lot. And in fact, Pharaoh in general can be seen as an alcoholic personality. He was a man of tremendous ego. He thought he was literally a god. Pharaoh walked around thinking he was a god and that everybody should worship him and that he was in control. He got everything he ever wanted. Everybody did everything he ever wanted, no matter how bad or depraved it was. He thought he was in control, and to a great extent he was in control, but of course he wasn't. Only God is in control, and Pharaoh learned that lesson the hard way. In fact, there's a saying that the ancient sages teach: many designs are in a man's heart, but the counsel of God, only it will prevail. This is a resonance with the second step. Many designs are in a man's heart. We have designs in our heart, but they don't really count for much. When we turn our lives and will over to God, then we can get some sanity and some true control over our life. So some thoughts on this for today are, think about God gives us opportunities to come to him and be protected by God on our journey to recovery. And my question to you today is, have you ever felt God offering an opportunity to come to him, to come to believe that a power greater than yourself could restore you to sanity? Sometimes we feel these things. It may not be such a clear thing. Sometimes it's really clear. You hear great stories in AA, like, I was drunk and I crashed into a church. Oh, there I was, so I walked in, like God just calling you in. But sometimes it's more subtle. But I think we can all relate to this idea that if you think about it, like you're a Pharaoh, you have this terrible idea. You're going to fix everything. You're going to do the equivalent of killing all the Jewish baby boys. And then somehow your daughter ends up adopting a Jewish baby boy, and that baby boy grows up to destroy you. Like that is something that is like a parable of alcoholism. Like you think you've got it all under control, and you don't, right? You don't have the power. God has the power. You have a design in your heart, as the sages will say, but God's will prevented that from happening. So my question is, do you feel God's will for you in your life? What are you experiencing? What if you don't? Perhaps you don't feel God's will for you in your life. That's something to work on. That's when you work on the second step. Sometimes you have to search for this feeling. Usually it's there if you look. It sometimes involves getting yourself into a quiet place, getting away from noise and people, concentrating, trying to hear the voice of God in your life. And maybe that process will help you think about what's the value of trying to run the show, right? Are you struggling with trying to run the show on your own? Are you like Pharaoh, trying to work everything out, but then it doesn't work? Okay, how's that going for you? Okay, those are some thoughts about the second step based on this verse in Exodus. If you like what you're hearing here, I'm going to do my little plug here. This reflection and others are in my 90-day 12-step workbook, available at the link below. If you're interested, I recommend it. Thank you for being with us today.